Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? So we got some special guests on tonight. We got C.D.T. Hey C.D.T. and Amber Truth Seeker. Amber's trying to get an email to send to me so that we can show you guys, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But welcome to the channel. Happy to have you on.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. And I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm glad both of you were able to make it. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so like the reason why I labeled it the way that I did is normal or paranormal is because there's like two different sides of the case like that are interesting. One is the normal side of the case, all the different details, all the different behind the scenes things, the police cam footage, the theories about NK, just like so many different avenues of that. And then on top of that, you start throwing in the other side of the picture, the flip side of the coin, which is paranormal. People start talking about the dark side that NK was on, and how she was evil and she had brought things there, and then how Chris Watts was possessed, and maybe that's what made him do it. So it's like you have two sides of this case that are like very like intriguing. Like for me, both sides are intriguing. So like I like the normal side of it, and I like the paranormal side of it, because it's like you get both sides of that, Phil. It's like, my gosh, this case is like the perfect storm almost,
Yeah, it is. And I know that we dig in so much into the normal, quote unquote, side of things, like the case files and interviews. But then, like you said, this paranormal side is like, you have like the access to be in those spots, which I've been watching on your channel, which is awesome. Like, I wish, I would have no problem bringing a spirit box or whatever, go in there just to see, because that is another side of the case, and that is actually really interesting to me.
Yeah, it's very intriguing. And I'm not sure what's going on with my thing. I know I'm flashing, guys. My screen is tweaking out. It's driving me nuts. It's driving me crazy. I know my screen is flashing, so sorry. We'll try to muddle through it, but
it's probably a ghost.
It probably is. We start. I swear, we start talking about. I know it's StreamYard too, though. StreamYard has been doing some crazy things, and I've been having like so many different issues with StreamYard, trying to get like multiple people on. Like when me and Robbie go on, and then we get a third person on. Like we've had like Molly Go Lightly and things in the past on, and like doing prank calls, and all of a sudden things will start going all wonky. So I'm like, dang it!
It's the number 3.
So
yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I can answer this, but you guys, I'm sure you guys are more intrigued about obviously the normal side of the case. Like, what's some of your like standpoints on things? Like, what's some of those things that just baffle you about this case? You're like, whoa, just like some of those things that you sit and you're like, what the world? Like, what's some of the most intriguing things about this case to you?
Go ahead, Kelly.
Okay. For me, I guess part of it is the amount of videos that we have from Shanann that show Chris in the background, and he comes across as a good dad, and I'm not saying he still is, but at the time he did. And then you get into June when Shanann left, and I just find it so interesting how Shanann and her friends all said like something changed Chris within those 6 weeks. And then you go back to what was Chris doing during those 6 weeks, and where was he? And he was with NK, who the first time I listened to her interview, I just had a really sick feeling and felt there was something dark and off about her. And I don't know, it takes a lot for me to really feel that way about anybody, but I did. And I just think and a lot of people think Chris wore a mask and he was always this way. I don't know, I can't answer that. But when I look back at just the text in their lives, I just really feel that something did enter into their life and home that was dark. And obviously I think Chris had a hand in it, but we still just don't know exactly what happened and how it happened and who was, I don't think Chris has told the truth yet. So that's a big thing for me.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'd have to pretty much agree with almost everything Kelly says and just add a little bit more. It's just like, inconceivable for to think of a husband and a dad to do what he did. Like the oil wells, that whole aspect, it's just like, you know, it's one thing for something like that to happen within the home. And, you know, you've heard other stories where, like, unfortunately, they find the family at the house killed, but like to have them transported and disposed of the way they were, it's just like, doesn't add up to me. Like Kelly said, we see all these videos of Chris, and whether he was wearing a mask or whether there was a psychotic break, like there's so many different theories, and it's just, we go around in circles wondering, you know, which one was actually the one that happened, or were there other people involved, which it's leaning towards me feeling like there were other people involved, even though Chris, of course, conspired and was wrapped up into this horrible murder.
Yeah, and I agree. Like, see, I agree with both of you. I know I turned off my picture for a second because it's driving me absolutely nuts. I'm sure it's driving you guys nuts too. But it's like the same thing that along with what you guys are saying. Like for me, I see Chris in these different videos, and I see him as portraying like he's a decent father and things like that. And I know people say, well, he's, you know, emotionless and he's cold-hearted and things like that. However, I see that he looks like he's loving and nurturing to these kids in these videos. Yeah. And so I see that, and it's like, it's hard to imagine you getting from one point where you're loving to just completely like careless, don't care, and heartless, and just, you know, could give a crap less what happens. And so that to me, I'm like, what in the hell would get you to a point like that? Like, how could you just get to a point where it's like, you know what I mean? Like you go to like just completely the deep end. Like he completely went off the deep end. He jumped off the deep end. And so like, to me, that's like so intriguing, because I'm like, when I do paranormal things, I've seen demonic things, and I've seen, like, you know, people becoming possessed and things like that. It reminds me of some of like those things. Now we can't say, you know, Chris Watts was possessed, and so therefore he did what he did. No, regardless of whether he was possessed or whether he was not possessed, that makes absolutely zero difference, because he made the choices leading up to whether he brought an evil inside the house or not. He started living a separate life. He started doing he was cheating and having an affair with an NK. And then I heard that they were into some dark things as well as an NK. And so when you start getting in all that, like, you start welcoming things in a lot of times, and you're like, you know, and so regardless of if he was possessed or not possessed, I mean, that's neither here nor there, because he made the choices of which to do the things that he did.
Right.
And so when you do that, it's sometimes you don't invite obviously good things, demons into the home, and then you start doing very off the wall strange things. But we also had heard that he was talking about how he was hearing different things, and, you know, he kind of went off the sketch thing. So, but it's hard to tell with him because he's such a Pinocchio. Like, he just lies.
Yeah. No, it's compulsive.
Like, is he telling the truth? Is he not?
Yeah.
He's the boy who cried wolf. So it's like, it's hard to believe a freaking word he says. It's like, okay, you're telling me these things, man, but how much is your word really worth? Is your word
I know. At this point, I feel like he would need to be put through an evaluation and then put on, I'm not even sure. I asked my fiance today, do they have like medication for people who are compulsive liars? And my fiance said something like, it might be something kind of like schizophrenia medication. Like, it needs to be to the point where, like, he's got to show us that he's been through evaluation, because no one can believe anything he says if he's showing us maybe that he's getting like help or something, or, you know, something needs to be diagnosed with him.
Yeah, he seems off, doesn't he? I mean, he even smirks at the question when they start interviewing him for the first time, when he was in front of it on his porch right there.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, standing on that porch is a very surreal feeling. Like,
I bet. I can't imagine.
Because two things went through my mind when I've done the paranormal investigations and I've been on that porch, like doing an investigation. Two things are going through my mind. One, I'm like, this is the last place that Shanann was actually seen.
Yeah.
Oh,
So like her walking through the door was the last time that she was seen. So that's the
Yeah.
first thing that goes through my head. The second thing is thinking how Chris Watts was there and he's doing this interview and he's like pleading, quote unquote, for, you know, people to find his family. However, he's got like this weird, awkward, like kind of smirk on his face, and he doesn't look like someone who would be frantic. Like if I lost my family, like, and my kids are missing, and my wife is missing, and other things, like you're like,
Yeah.
for the love of God, like someone help me, please, like God, please help me. Like I would be in a frantic mode. I would be like, guys, please, I'm like looking everywhere, like I don't know what else to do. I don't know where else to turn. I'm trying to do everything I can. Like I would be in like a frantic mode. It wouldn't be like a calm, nonchalant, like arms folded, like, you know, like his little interviews, like he's guarded and things, like, and we could talk about that. I talked about a little bit about body language and things, but you see that, and it's just like it does not look like a normal person would do in a situation.
Right. There's nothing normal about him. We need to know, because Ted Bundy probably got evaluated and it came back, you're a sociopath. Why are we not getting anything back about Chris? Like people, including myself, we speculate, you know, possible Asperger's.
Yeah.
They, you know, they have like that kind of like disconnect as far as like emotions and, you know, other traits as well. But if we could just get like a clear diagnosis, like help us understand this guy, because.
And that's exactly it. It's like, why hasn't these evaluations? And we could go into all that too. Like we start talking about evaluations, someone should have evaluated freaking NK's ass. She's fucking crazy. She's crazy.
She's crazy. I agree. You can pick it up. Just her voice changes, her reactions, lack of any emotion.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Can we talk about her freaking crazy giggle?
Yeah.
Who the fuck giggles like that?
Yes.
I don't even see how that would have been like cute or like sexy for her. Like to leave that on his like email.
Right.
That's freaking.
And the writer in the Discovery, you know, describes it as a creepy giggle.
It is. It is a creepy giggle.
Yeah, even the law enforcement who heard it and were, you know, noting it added the word creepy.
Yeah.
So that's very telling. It's not just us.
Yeah, it is. It's like it's haunting. It's chilling. Like the way that she giggles is like almost chilling, like a witch cackling at something. It's like just so weird. And it's, I know they wanted to get the circus out of town. I know they wanted to. However, like I feel so much like they dropped the ball on when they were doing the interrogation with NK. Like I feel like she led that freaking interrogation. Like it's like it wasn't even like aimed at it. Like it's not like a sit down, you know, sweat it out box thing. Like mind, you know, try to trick them with their mind. You know, like they did with Chris. What they did with Chris is that's that there. She set up the whole thing like chess. Like she's like, you know, hey, I'm here for you, and it's okay, don't worry, it's all light. And then all of a sudden she turns up the heat, and she's all, oh yeah, by the way, this is super accurate, and we're gonna know if you're lying or if you're not lying. So she like turns the heat up on him, and I know that they do that obviously when you do interrogations, because why? The polygraph is they wants to get that response to see like your instant trigger, like oh crap, that moment. Like because they need to do it to get a more accurate reading. Well, she set it up. She did set that up pretty brilliantly. However, it's like, why was that same thing not done to NK?
Yeah.
Why was the same thing? And it's like so many people are afraid to talk about her too. Like her involvement. It's like everybody's like,
I'm not.
Don't talk about her. Don't talk about her. Why? Like, let's talk about her. She's sketch. She's sketch. There's something weird and off about her. Even thinking about the searches that she had done prior to, and regardless if it was quote unquote mistyped, because they said, oh, it was probably just a typo on the keyboard. My ass, it was a typo on the keyboard, because you still have a history date and a timestamp of when she was originally looking. So regardless if she was like typing in that or whatever, like it all doesn't add up. It's crap. It's crap.
I know. And I feel like it's so funny because it seems like, you know, every guy, I mean, and a lot of women hear NK and they say the same thing like you said. Like there's just something like sketchy about her. Like, I don't know. Like even But Chris, as we know, had no dating experience prior to Shanann.
I wonder why.
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
something's wrong.
Like, as a female, and like, I mean, just think about how strong personality NK is. Like, she ran those interviews with CBI as if it was nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, and she did. That's what I don't get too. That's like what I was saying is like she completely like steered that, you know, that when they were doing the interrogation, it's just like she kind of set the tone. Like it was flirty and playful and like nonchalant, and like they kind of just went with it. It's like, why are you going like with this that crazy ladies like thing? Like, it's nothing cute about it. It's like, yeah, look, like you start talking about all the other different things, the pings that she had, you know, near the home, and the 111-minute conversation that she had. That, by the way, that just happened to be their longest conversation that they quote unquote had, and it happened to be on the night that Shanann was murdered and the babies were murdered. It's just all too weird. It's like, okay. So that's what I was saying. Like, that's why I like both sides of this, because I'm like, it's intriguing in that way because there's so many different avenues and so many different like question marks into the case itself, into the people involved in the case. You know what this reminds me of? Clue. Reminds me of Clue. Like where you're playing and you're like trying to figure out who done it and what room and what weapon they did it with, except for I think we know the people, you know, Colonel Mustard is in the bench.
Yeah.
Colonel Mustard is NK.
Well, yeah, I mean, even the DA went back and basically changed the scene of the crime in March. You know, he went from telling us that the video showed Chris load his deceased body, and then basically social media saw shadows. They went back and talked to Chris. And now there's reports, you know, news reports where the DA says, oh, his second confession matches what we see on the video. It appears he bends down and picks up a shadow. And then Shanann's family says, well, if we had known that, we might have, you know, we would have wanted to go for the death penalty. So it's just like, how much did they even, we know they released the crime scene on Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. They put evidence in plastic bags, which is a no-no, according to an expert who was, you know, on HLN. And basically, it just seems like they, I don't know, like you said, they wanted it out of town. There was, a gas oil company involved. So there's 3 bodies. Yeah, I mean, it didn't look good, and they didn't want to go through a trial, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and that reminds me, just watching you go out to survey in your videos, it seems pretty easy to kind of drive out there and not have to worry about, you know, like, I don't know, I would have been so nervous that, like, the cops would have rolled up and been like, hey, buddy, what are you doing here?
It's out in the middle of nowhere, literally. I mean, like, you go out there and you're alone. You're alone. And I could tell you even more so because I started... When me and Robbie had done during the day investigation, it was hot outside, and I started walking. It literally felt like the Sahara Desert out there. I started going out there, and I had to try to figure another way out because they have pretty much gates blocking around almost everything. But there's another little route that you can walk around. But to walk close enough to get like the drone footage and things like that I wanted to get, it took me almost 40 minutes to walk from where the gate was over to where survey 319 would have been. And what sucked is because when I had initially gone, I wasn't 100%. I knew I had the GPS coordinates where survey 319 was. And so there's three of them that are all in a line. And I didn't know that because I just looked at it quickly and I was like, okay, well, it's got to be over this direction. This is where the GPS is pinpointing it. So I go over there because I only saw one other one over there. I was like, this is it. This is it. And I went further than where survey 319 was. And I was like, this is it. Yes. I got all these photos and all these videos of it. I was like, this is awesome. And then we start to look at it and we send it to AD and we're like, that doesn't look like survey 319.
Oh,
we were trying to go to prove it to prove that it had been torn down.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, there's no way they tore it down. There's no way they tore it down. But, you know, after like investigating it more and stuff, like after it lives its life anyway, they take it down anyway. So like,
what do you make of them removing it completely?
Well, I think like from what I had heard, and reliable sources is that they were planning on taking it down prior to this anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've heard that too.
it doesn't shock me that it was actually taken down,
right.
because, you know, it's like, then you got two reasons. It's like, one, you already got the freaking circus of it, you know, what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then two, it's already served its purpose anyway. You were going to plan on tearing it down anyway. So why not? I probably would have expedited the process if I was the owner of it. I would have been like, screw it, let's just tear it down. Like, there's no good come out of this anyway. It's already, we were already planning on tearing it down anyway. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Right.
We did hear that it was falling apart and not well maintained, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just want to stop. Sorry, guys. Thank you guys, everybody that's donating and becoming members. Welcome to the family. We appreciate your donations and becoming members. However, because my screen is going off fricassee, I have to completely blow up, so I can't highlight anybody that's donating and things like that. So I just wanted to stop and say thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for donating. Thank you for supporting the channel. So, but yeah, it's a very surreal feeling when you go out there to Survey 319. When I went there last time and I did that little expedition to go back and forth there, I missed it the first time, came back, and like I said, it's 40 minutes to get out there, 4 minutes to walk back, and it was out in the sun. So and my heart rate had skyrocketed so much the second time, it got to about 160, and I literally felt like I was dying, like pushing towards the max of my heart rate. And so I literally laid down in the sand, and I was over by where Shanann would have been.
Oh my God.
It's like a surreal feeling. I'm like, I might potentially seriously die here. And like, I just thought in my brain, I was like, dear Lord, I might actually freaking die over here. And I literally felt like that. Like I was so overexhausted. It was insane. And
did you feel like goosebumps or anything when you were around there?
I was so overexhausted that the only thing I could think about in my mind, honestly, was trying to survive to get back. That's literally
I guess at that point.
I had drank all my water. I had no more snacks in my backpack. I call them my fat girl treats. I had no more fat girl treats in my backpack. So I had nothing. I couldn't have been any more unprepared in that moment for what had happened. And when I was out there, I was like, oh my gosh, like I have no water. I'm sitting here, my heart rate's at 160. I'm overheating. I took off my hat and put it over my face, and I just laid in the dirt. I laid in the dirt. And I sat there probably for like 15 minutes to try to slow my heart rate down. And when my heart rate slowed down, it only slowed down to, I think it's like 135. But I was like, if I lay here, if I continue to lay here, I was like, I might seriously get heat stroke. So I was like, I got to get out of here. So I walked at probably the slowest pace that has ever been walked before. It was crazy.
That sounds nuts.
And I mean, you felt the ground. I mean, in your opinion, being there and like you've seen the landscape and have felt the ground. Do you think that Chris could have had time to do everything he did the way he said he did it?
Nope. In the time frame that he did it, there's no way possible. And I've stated that since like the beginning. I was like, there's no way that he had enough time to do all this stuff like that day. There's no way he would have had to have it all planned. Like the time frame that you start talking about, because it takes roughly about 50 to 55 minutes to get out to where Survey 319 was from where his house was. You would have had to incorporate that time to the unloading. Then remember, you got to carry the girls up to the top of the oil thing, open it up, put them in there, then go over there, then dig a grave for Shanann, then pull her out, put her in there, then cover it back up, then go and, get everything ordered, make sure that you have everything and everything's taken care of, like in your mental state and trying to do that in a rush thing. And then he comes back to where the cops were, they were at his house and things. There's no freaking way. And I felt the ground too. During the summer, like, there's like probably like maybe this much top dirt, but underneath, I tried to push underneath it, and it was hard. Now I just went out there again with AD on our channel too, and did that little EVP session, and I tried to dig in the ground. Now it's winter now here, and it was completely rock solid. But I wanted to show people that even trying to get underneath there, because if you can at least get underneath the top layer, it should start getting softer. But it's hard. It's hard. It's not easy to do. I felt I didn't want to bring a spade or a shovel out there because I felt that was too tacky. I was like, if I bring a spade or a shovel out here,
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Like on
I
camera,
get it.
almost like reenacting it there would have been.
Yes, like, and I'm out there too. Like, I'm out there alone. I mean,
Yeah.
alone, doing EVP sessions and spirit box sessions and stuff like that. And here I am, like, by myself in the middle of nowhere, and nobody's around me, and I'm over here doing these things. And all of a sudden, I start digging at a shovel. Can you?
I almost feel like that could have stirred up even more activity, though.
Yeah. Well, it probably could have, but then everybody would have probably cast tomatoes at me too. I'm sure everybody.
Yeah, true.
Tomatoes at me, like, you insensitive asshole.
Yeah, disrespect. Yeah.
I try to do it as respectful as possible. Like,
no, yeah, you definitely did.
I don't
At
want
the
to
same
piss
time,
everybody
people
off.
like me and Kelly who want like a reenactment done, like just like how they do on court TV and stuff for forensic files. Like, it would be so useful to see, like, I mean, because Chris told Agent Tammy he dug the hole in 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, my ass he did.
Yeah.
There's no way. Yeah, he could say he dug 20 to 30 minutes, but there's no way he dug even a shallow hole big enough to fit Shanann. Like, I know hers wasn't like super deep or anything, but in 20 to 30 minutes. No. I wish I could. I wish I could go out there and show people in the dirt and start digging, like, you know, kind of like the dimensions that he did, and show them like the time frame. My God, like, how awesome would that honestly be? Like, I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody.
No.
How awesome would that be if, like, I go out there and I start digging to show everybody, here's a time lapse of me digging, and here's how long it took me to dig that freaking hole.
I don't think that would be insensitive. I think that would actually help people kind of process this case in a way, because it's so unbelievable.
Yeah, I think I would have to do it probably a little bit away from Service 319. Like, I wouldn't want to do it
on the site.
I don't know, but that might be an option. I might think about doing that eventually, since it's, you know, over in my neck of the woods. It still takes me an hour. It takes me like an hour and 5 minutes to get over there.
Okay.
So it's not like it's close. If it was close, I'd probably be there investigating all the time. I'd be like, okay, let's look what else we can look at.
Yeah. I loved what you did with AD. I was like, oh, that'd be so cool if we could talk through the spirit box too.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I didn't realize too, like, I haven't shown everybody the footage yet, but there's female voices that are talking behind when we're talking too. So that's
wow.
So I'll go over it eventually and show everybody the footage like I usually do. I do a findings video, but but it's interesting. I don't know if you guys have seen all the videos. Have you guys seen a lot of the paranormal videos that I've done on the Watch
I've seen a few.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that were captured that were very, very compelling and like kind of crazy. And this is why, like, this is another thing that I'm like, you know, it's another aspect to bring to the side of the table. How reliable is it? I don't know. Like, you know, how reliable is it? We don't know.
I know what you mean.
But
there are professional investigators who work with psychics and stuff mediums. Like that anyways. Yeah,
psychic mediums, because sometimes they're very spot on. And like, the reason I do these things is like so that people understand demons and they can trick you. But demons, I don't know how much you guys know about demons, but demons know things. Like, demons know things like that we can't see and we don't hear. Yeah. So when the demons that are there or at the case, or that were with Chris and with NK or whatever, they know the aspects that we don't know in the case. So if we're sitting here talking to these spirits or these demons and they know things, sometimes they're going to say something that's very relevant to a case, and that's kind of like why we're like, okay, well, let's bring it up, let's talk about it. That's why we asked, was NK involved? And in several times that I asked that too on an EVP, it said yes, NK.
Wow,
that's so crazy that you said everything you just said, because one of the EVPs I sent you, I mean, if you're saying that the demons know, like, it doesn't matter if we're not talking directly to the girls. Yep. But if it's a demon, like the EVP I sent you, that's really telling, because
and it is like, that's what's so crazy about it. It's like a lot of people I know, they don't believe there's some people that don't believe in the afterlife, and there's other people that don't believe in demons, or they don't believe in angels and different things. However, it's tough to argue certain things. For instance, when a voice is talking behind you, like, for instance, if I'm doing a live and I'm there by myself in a car, and then all of a sudden you hear like a female's voice talking.
Oh, that's scary.
Like one of the times that I went, I had left the Watts house. I just left the Watts house and I went over to the 7-Eleven, and you hear a female's voice and it goes, "Please don't go." Yeah. And it's clear as day. It goes over the top of me like I'm talking.
Yeah.
And it goes, "Please don't go." It's like, wow. And I didn't, you don't hear these things when you're doing the lives, or you don't hear them when they're doing it. But however, when you go back over the footage, you see those things and you're like, "Geez, that's crazy." That's insane.
It is. It's hard for people to comprehend if they've never experienced something like that themselves. Like, I can't say that I truly believed in it until it happened to me. You know what I mean?
And a lot of people won't. Like, you're not alone, Amber, in that, because a lot of people will seriously say the same thing. "Oh, it's rigged. Oh, it's stupid. They're just doing this to get views," or whatever. Like, one of the things that I wanted to make sure on the channel that we have is like what I see and what I hear is what you're hearing at the same exact time. That's why I do these investigation live. Like, a lot of people will ask, "Well, why don't you just record it?" Well, I have cameras that I can record in 4K and get great, absolutely stunning visual things and like things like that. However, what are people going to do? People are going to question it. "Well, you messed with the footage, or you did this, or you do that." However, I wanted to try to take a different stance and approach to it, is because like when you're doing it live, it's very hard to argue the fact when I'm over there by myself and there's nobody else around me, and all of a sudden you hear something or you hear a voice and it's a female's voice. Well, I'm sitting in my car and you can see it all in my car, and there ain't no freaking female in my car. So you hear a female's voice, like, how are you going to argue that? It's hard to argue.
Yeah, I think the live format is great because, like you said, then nobody can say that you're tampering or adding things in there in the moment, And
that's what I want. I want people to be like, it's like beyond a reasonable doubt. I want you to hear it and I want you to understand it beyond a reasonable doubt. I want it to be like, this is phony baloney. And you're still going to get those people that are like, this is that kind of crap. But a lot of those times, those are the people that quickly jump in and have no idea what the hell's going on. They're like, this is for the crap, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you don't even know. Like, you literally jumped on this channel for a second. Do you know that we're live doing this? Like, we're actually live and
watching you with AD, and you were in your vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
Next to me, like halfway paying attention on his laptop. And
I know he was.
And then he like looks over, and we're talking about that person, the face in your back seat. And I was like, "Look, there's a face." Of course, fiance, those are just pixels. Then all of a sudden, a minute later, he's like, "I see the face."
That's what I was like too when Robbie had said that, because that's a lot of times. Like, I've had so many things happen in the backseat of that car, but like, it's like, I said the same thing to Robbie when we were on the live too. I was like, looking back, I was like, I don't see anything. Like, what are you seeing? Like, and I even tried to like go as close as I could to see the pixels on the camera and things, because I try to debunk it. I'm like, if I can see it, I'm like,
you got it.
That's just pixels. Like, oh, here's the headrest right here, guys, and you guys maybe just thinking that that's a head. However, sometimes there's things that I can't argue with, and that's why I was legitimately trying to look. I'm like, okay, is there something actually there? And I kept telling him, I was like, I don't see it. Maybe you guys see it, but I can't see it. And then I did have something that blew on the back of my neck.
So scary.
And I was like, oh God, like, and that's like the worst feeling. Like when you have something like physically like try to touch you, or like there was one time I had something touch me on my shoulder, and then another time, like that time that we were with that live with ADS Service 319, something blew on the back of my neck, just like, and it wasn't like a little gentle, like it was like a, and I'm like, whoa,
yeah,
I felt that, like I couldn't argue it. Like that instant moment of shock, like, damn, that was crazy.
Have you ever investigated a prison, like an abandoned prison?
No, I want to.
Kelly and her husband went to one.
Did you?
I told her, it's like a tour, a little place to go to, right, Kelly?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Brushy Mountain State Prison in Tennessee. It's in Petros. It's like right outside of kind of near Knoxville.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, I've never experienced anything paranormal personally. I've never seen a ghost. I've never heard anything or anything like that. But being in where the death row was, I did feel just a heaviness and the vibe, like the energy was just unsettling.
And isn't it crazy to think? And it's not just your mind playing tricks on you, because I know like your mind can sometimes play tricks on you. You start seeing things or different things like that. However, like if you actually go to some of these places, you can actually feel
yes,
the change in it. It's like you just feel like a sensation of like dread, and you feel like something's not right here. Like you could just feel like those instant, like that instinct that you get in the pit of your gut that tells you like something's not right, something's off here.
Yeah,
I do have one here that I'm going to do. It's the only gas chamber that's left that they actually did deaths to.
Oh wow,
Colorado, and it's the only one left that they have standing. It's a museum, and I can get a block of time to go in the witching hour, or
yes,
3 a.m. So I'm going to do that one, and I'm going to go sit in the gas chamber.
That's intense.
Put people to death, but I'm going to go sit there. So that one's on the list to go do. I haven't done it yet, but I do have it on my list. I've talked to the people, and they want me to come over and check it out too. So that'll be interesting when I do that. I can't wait to do that one.
Yeah,
For sure.
I'll definitely watch that. I used to watch Zach Bagan, The Ghost Adventures. So I seen your channel. I was like, oh wow, this is like everything I used to watch, but like mixed in with the Watts. It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites too, Zach Baggins. I actually went to. Have you guys seen that he has a haunted museum?
No.
He has a haunted museum where he gets artifacts, the most haunted artifacts around the world.
Oh my God.
One of it's like the Dubuque box. Have you guys ever heard of the Dubuque box?
No.
It's the Jewish one that they had during the Holocaust, and they would basically cast demons into it.
Oh my
wow.
And so like it's supposed to be one of the most haunted artifacts, but he's got crazy ones. Like he has Charles Manson's last what do you call it? The suit that they wear in the prison. And he even has his blood on it. He has the last one that he walked to before he was put to death and things. So like he has that. He has Ted Bundy's glasses. He has Dr. Kevorkian's van. He has Dr. Kevorkian's van in there, the one where he assisted all those suicides. How many was it? Like 130 or something like that? Crazy.
That's a lot.
Oh my God.
So like it's like to me, I'm like a little kid in a candy shop. Like when I go in there, I'm like, oh my God, there's like so much history in this thing. And it's like it's like so nasty. It's like a nasty history of stuff, but it's like to me, I'm like a kid in a candy shop because I love all the like crime things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look over there. What's the other guy's Gacy? The crime. See, he had stuff in him there. Like there's so many things that he had that was just crazy. Patrick Swayze's tooth.
Wow, that's random.
Yeah, weird random stuff too. So it's really awesome. I'm excited because I'm talking about it because it got me thinking about it when you're talking, Amber, when you were talking about Zach Baggins. I'm actually going to go back out there again for my birthday here in January, which is a couple of weeks. And I'm going to go again to the museum. And I want to go check it out again. There's like an all access tour that I want to go check out. So.
Are you allowed to film while you're in there?
No, they won't allow you to film. I will, however, I will do a quick little live before it. Like I'll be showing like the museum outside of it. You can't film inside of it except for one place. Like when you first get in there, there's like a little sit place that you do, and they'll allow you to take pictures and stuff like that. But it just has like some different things on the wall. It's before you get in the rooms. There's 30 rooms. He has 30 rooms for different artifacts and different things that are like crazy.
That's neat. There's a true crime type museum in Sevierville, Tennessee, which is a little under 2 hours from me. But last I checked, they had Ted Bundy's bug in there and OJ's Bronco that he drove on the police chase.
That's awesome.
And one of Gacy's clown suits. But I want to go there. That's on my list for sure.
Yeah, that's like the same thing with oh my gosh, Winchester, the Winchester house, that did the Winchester rifles and all those things, the guns. Yeah. Like where she has different rooms. Like she, if you hear the story about her, she basically built these different rooms because she felt like these spirits and demons were haunting her, and she would have to keep repeatedly like building like different random rooms.
Wow.
So I would, oh my gosh, the things that you would see probably going in there and doing a paranormal investigation would be absolutely crazy.
It's called. I have to look that up. The Winchester House.
Mm-hmm. It's over in California.
Okay.
Winchester House. I think they even they did. They made a movie off of it too as well.
Wow. I'll have to check that out. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But she basically felt, because of all, obviously their rifles and their guns were made and killing people. She felt like all the people that it was killing, and she felt like those people were coming and haunting her. So
Okay.
they would tell her to build rooms. And
Yeah.
if you don't complete this room, we're basically going to torment you. So she would just keep building rooms, like random, like weird things, like staircases going up to nowhere, or just go to the ceiling, and then doors that would be outside of the house on the second or third floor or whatever story, where you just walk out to nothing.
That's fascinating.
Weird. She was crazy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to be a little crazy to, do all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Wild.
So,
now, when you were at Survey, you mentioned that you felt more of like an evil, heavy presence at the house in comparison to being out at the oil site.
mm-hmm. Yes, that's correct. And I did, like, it was a different type of feeling. Like Robbie mentions it as more peaceful. He says it's more peaceful out there, and he was right. The time that we went, like, you could see like the sunset and like the different things, and it was nice weather, and there's nobody there, so it's very peaceful and tranquil to that part, because there's like, you're out in the middle of nowhere and it's a beautiful sunset. The weather was nice. So when we went there, that's what it was like. However, this time when I went, it was freaking cold. The wind was blowing crazy. I think it was gusts of up to 60 miles an hour. You're out there in the dark. It's pitch black everywhere you look. So it's like a different surreal feeling. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it felt different. It didn't feel as evil as the house, but I definitely felt a different feeling from the first time that we had went during the day to when we went to Survey 319. I didn't feel like there was an evil presence like I do when I feel like I go to the Watts. When I feel like I go to the Watts, I feel like there's something like truly evil there. Truly evil.
So when we're talking about artifacts, and obviously I'm sure you believe that spirits or demons can attach themselves to items.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, like with the kids, I know this is so sad to even ask, but I'm just curious because we're on that paranormal path. The kids play set being at the house.
Yeah, the swing set.
Yeah, like I know everyone just talks about how eerie it is that it's still there, this and that, and like it almost makes me feel like if there was some sort of something you were feeling at the Watts, like maybe the swing set has something to do with why, like, not that like there was like an evilness, obviously, but like could the swing set bring on some sort of like paranormal activity because it was obvious it's still there.
Yeah, think about it like this. This would be my best way to explain that. So, you know how like Bloody Mary, or you talk about those different things. Mm-hmm. So demons are the same in the sense, like, if you get enough people talking about it, what does it do? It like turns it into like, what do you call? Oh my God, why am I having a freaking blank? When you turn them into an urban legend. When you turn it into an urban legend. So it's like you give it this energy, you give it this power. Like, so when people keep continuously talking about the swing set is moving by itself. The swing set is evil. Like, to a demon or an entity or whatever that's evil, what's the first thing that they want to go play with? They want to go interpret what you're portraying as evil or creepy or whatever. Like, they want to go to those things because so many people have brought them up. They're like, it gives them power, it gives them energy. Yeah, we know that. It'd be like saying the same things, like, why does an evil entity attach to like places that there's murdered? Well, because that they know somebody's murdered there. Like, they know that something evil happened at that location, and people go seek for that. People go seek, well, because something evil happened here, I'm going to go investigate it, and I'm going to go look. So it like attaches itself. Same thing with like what you were saying, an item or whatever. Like, if, the kid had like this toy that was like the best, but they ended up getting murdered and stuff like that, and then somehow this evil attaches to that toy. Well, why did it attach to that toy? Well, it's attached to that toy because it's like what you associate it with. You associate it with that evil thing that had happened.
Wow.
So
yeah, I just think like even if, say, this, like if their spirits go to the swing set, like Bella and Cece, because it was their happy place, could they like lure evil demons too, and then the demons kind of like play on it and like confuse like
Yeah, because if you think, okay, so I've talked about this a lot. So a lot of people are like, well, their spirits are left behind, and like Shanann's stuck here because she got murdered and she's unhappy with Chris and things like that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that once we're regardless if we're murdered or we die or whatever the case may be, I don't believe we're stuck here. However, like demons will trick you into thinking that. What's the easiest way to get somebody to accept that? If you're let's say a demon is portraying a little girl, such as Bella or C.D.T, like you see him in the window or you see him here. What's the first thing people want to do? They're like, their heart breaks for it's like, oh, that poor soul is stuck here. So what's your first instinct? Your first instinct is, how can I help you, Bella or CC, to get to the other side? How can I help you get to the other side? So now you've done exactly what the demon wants you to do. You're inviting the demon in to be with you or to attach to you, because now it's tricked you into thinking that it's a little child.
Yeah.
Therefore, now it's like, guess what? I attached to you. Now it's going to wreak havoc on you and do that. That's why you see like people that go and investigate these things and they don't know what they're doing. And like they start like, doing Ouija boards and things. And you see bad things start happening in their family and in their home is because you give it permission to enter into you, into your home, into your life, and just wreak havoc and destruction on you. So that's when people are like, oh yeah, it's this little girl. So now make no mistake, it's no little girl. They might be portraying a little girl to try to trick you into thinking that it might be Bella or Cece stuck behind or Shanann left behind. Because why? They want you to feel an empathy towards them. They want you to connect with them and be like, you poor thing, let me help you move on. What can I do to help you move on? Here, use me, use my body to tell me what it is that you want.
Yeah.
So yeah, be careful. Like if you're out there and you're watching this stuff, be careful about what you let enter into you and what you tell. Hey, yeah, it's okay to go ahead and attach to me to try to do it, because I bet you anything it's not what you're thinking it is.
I know. Do you ever have to get like holy water or anything?
No, I don't believe like what I do is I always like plead the blood of Jesus over it. Like I know like a lot of people won't agree with me that that's the case, but it's what I believe. Like I believe that Jesus is the only one that can actually derail these things and stuff like that. So I always like take protection upon when I'm doing that. I always say, please protect me as I'm going here. Please protect me when I'm doing this. I always say the same thing before I walk into my house. Please protect me and make sure that nothing is allowed to enter my house. I give you no permission to enter me or into my house. So like I take like all those precautions to let them know. And that's like a lot of times like people forget, like as a person, you have like authority to tell these things, like don't attach to me.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember Zach saying that they would attach to his one friend because his one friend would be kind of weak in that aspect.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. Like if you're weak in that aspect and you allow them to attach, then they will. They absolutely take you for your weakness and they'll be like, yep, I'm going to attach to you. I'm going to go into your home. So
that's why I can't wait for you to go, even if you don't get into NK's apartment, which would be really cool if you could, but
yeah, I'm going to try my damnedest.
All you can do is try. I mean,
yeah, that's exactly.
Maybe there'll be a really cool laid back person who's like, yeah.
But how cool would it be to be able to get into NK's apartment to like look around, like even if the furniture, it's not the same, we know. However, the setup and design, like the layout of the place is the same. So you can imagine like this was her bedroom. This is where she would have eaten. This is where she would have walked through the doors. This is potentially where she did some of the dark stuff. And like taking pictures, like some of the pictures and stuff that you see, like you're like, this would have been right here. And
we have links that we've found on her phone records that tie her to some Satanists, right, Kelly?
Yeah, who she phoned on the August 13th. It was like 2:30 p.m. This was like a year ago at least. I've really looked into him, and he's some, I'm not going to say his name. I mean, you can Google the number and kind of find it. But yeah, there was some like Night of the Prophet Bride that was happening on August 12th. that he was a part of. And I don't know. It's just odd. It's just like, was that why she was Googling wedding dresses? That they were going to do some satanic ritual? And yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, people say sometimes we're conspiracy theorists and we're just making stuff up. Chris said he did it. He did it alone. He said so. Well, okay, show me, the DNA evidence. Show me the time frame that he had to do it. Tell me why you chose to believe this lie and not that lie. We all pick and choose what to believe from Chris.
I've thought about that before, trying to do the time frame thing to show everybody, like, okay, I'm going to leave exactly when he would have left in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm going to drive all the way over from his house to Survey 319. And then, but that's where you would have to do. You would have to try to dig the holes. And I would have to try to walk up, the steps of Survey 319. But we couldn't get like an exact, but we can get like a ballpark type of figure. How long would that have actually taken him?
Mm-hmm.
And so many people argue like, oh, he wasn't sweaty or anything. Like, yeah, maybe he did change his clothes. That's fine. But it still doesn't explain. Like, he probably would have stunk a BO from doing that much work. He probably would have reeked a BO. And
they acted like his pant leg was tucked into his boots, and that was about it. That was the weirdest thing,
pant leg in the boots.
Yeah, watch out.
Watch out for the pant leg in the boots.
Yeah, that was it. Nothing else weird about him. So I don't know. But I do wonder, I mean, if you had gone to the Watts home before the murders, like what you would have felt, if that you would have felt the darkness and the evil or whatever, versus when, you went after the murders. I think that would have been, obvious,
Yeah, you think about that, definitely. That's definitely intriguing. Was that evil darkness there prior to? But that probably would have been at the same time, like you would have been thinking, like it probably would have had to be done during the time of when he was doing his things with NK.
Right.
Because in my opinion, that's when the darkness started to come.
Agreed.
Right. I think that the darkness started to come when they started doing this thing, and it sounds like she was into some weird shit. I think we can all agree that she was into some weird things. And so I honestly think, in my opinion, like if I was to form like when did the darkness enter into the place, probably would have been around that same time frame. Yeah.
And that just goes back to not only Shanann, but a few of her friends were saying he changed within those 6 weeks. And the 6 weeks is, he was with her alone for 5 weeks. And law enforcement didn't even find out that he was staying with her pretty much 24/7, if not at work, until February. Like, don't you think you would want to know where your family annihilator, who everybody, said good things about, and I understand he may have been wearing a mask, he may have been evil, dark all along, but I'm sorry, you still would want to figure out what he was doing prior to doing this. And I didn't
see that. I know, like what we were talking about, though. We start to talk about how he looked on the videos with his kids and stuff like that. And the biggest, like, if he had like a evil darkness side to him prior to this, don't you think that those text messages and things would have came to light already? Like, Chris is like just acting really different. He's acting aggressive. He's like, don't you think those things would have came about? Like, in my opinion, it's like you start talking about that, and the only text messages and things that you start to see is how she was craving to have him be sexually active with her and different things like that. And their marriage is that he's not doing that and he's acting differently. And he, like how she was kind of tore up about it and stuff like that. And he was being very short. And then he would be like, he'd send a little text message back, oh, sorry, I was doing this and stuff like that. But that didn't start until like you started seeing like towards the end of things. But if you would have saw like him being evil prior to this, like people are like, he was evil the whole time. Could he have had maybe evil intentions inside him? But don't you think Shanann would have said something about it? Don't you think Shanann would have said something to somebody about how he's?
I mean, your family loved him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you just would have thought that she would have mentioned and been like, something's off about Chris. Like he's acting like just off the wall weird, and like I got to figure out how to get out of this marriage because he's freaking a weirdo.
Yeah.
And that's my thing with, reading Shanann's text to him about the change and her letter and everything. She never once, and again, I guess this is speculation, obviously, but from what they've given us, she never once said, like, Chris, you're acting weird again, or you're doing this to me again. It was all, like, totally out of to me, it seemed like for Shanann, it was out of the blue and new. Yeah. It wasn't like, oh crap, like we're back here, we're having issues again, or
because if it wasn't out of the blue, like what you're saying, why would she have been so concerned with, like, they're not having sex anymore, they're not doing this and that? Like, obviously this caught her off guard.
Yes.
Like, because she's like, why are you acting like this?
Yeah.
So, like, if it had been like, something that had happened prior to this, like, it wouldn't be such a shock. It wouldn't be such like a, like, what's going on with you? Like, why do you not want to have sex? Like, why does he not want to have sex with me anymore? Why does he not want to do this anymore? Like, why,
Just so
But that's not what you see. You see that towards the end. You see that only towards
and, like,
the end.
crazy cold towards her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even I found this interesting that Amanda Thayer said, and again, this goes to if you want to believe Shanann, but Amanda Thayer did say in her interview that when Shanann first got to North Carolina and Chris was still at home, that they were having phone sex a lot. And so again, it's just, I really feel that NK got in there and I know people say I'm blaming NK and excusing Chris. No. Like you said earlier, Mekcee, Chris allowed all of this. This was Chris's choice to even start this.
Yeah. You could have walked away. You could have walked away and been like,
said, not giving you my personal number.
Same thing with, like, not killing everybody too. Like, you just walked away. Just been like, you know what? Like, I found this chick. I think she's hot. Like, you weren't doing it for me anymore. Like, sucks.
You're annoying. Done.
But you're too controlling, whatever the case may have been. He could have done a million things and just walked away from it. Just been like, regardless of whatever she said, regardless if she was like, you're stupid and I fucking hate you and you're never seeing the kids again and stuff like that. Yeah. Anybody's normal response would have been like, well, maybe you hate me right now because of what I've done, but like, I'll see you in court and we'll see if a judge feels the same way, because judge isn't just going to take away, like, are you parenting things?
Yeah.
So he could have went that route if he wanted to. So, like, there's no excuse for, like, what he did. Like, and that's what I think, like, what you're saying about NK getting the hook in him. I mean, like, yeah, I think so. I think that NK was like a little gnat over here and was like, this is over here talking to his ear. If you want to family with me, if you want to be happy with me, you got to get rid of your family. You gotta give them up. I can't have this. I can't have this attachment. Look at Shanann. Shannann's crazy. She's never gonna let it in. She's never gonna let us be happy. And I feel like that. I literally feel like NK was like that little bug in his ear that was like, you got to do this for me. You got to do this for me. You got to do this for me.
I think that their affair was way longer than they claim, but I think as soon as Shanann was gone, then NK just put like the claws in. And it was, like, amplified, like pretty much crazy. Like you're saying, in his ear, controlling him. I think even drugs were probably involved.
I do too.
Because I do too. I think the drugs were involved too. But you look at it, and you look historically too, about Chris Watts' mother being controlling, and he's kind of like, he's very towards like mommy and whatever mommy says and things like that. But imagine that with this girl that he's having an affair with. So now, like, you've seen it historically to where he's had somebody kind of puppeteer and manipulate him and things like that. And some can argue even the fact that Shanann wore the pants in the family. Well, maybe because Chris let her wear the pants in the family.
Exactly. He never said otherwise.
If he has this tendency to be like that, if he has this tendency to kind of latch onto a mommy or a woman or whatever and be like, kind of guide me wherever you want me to go, puppeteer me, like, you can very much see the fact that if that was the case, and you see it historically in his pattern, that NK would have done the same thing. She would have puppeteered him and been like, okay, well, this is what I want you to do. I want you to, you got to give up your family. I can't do this. I can't do this. And I seriously feel like that's the case. I seriously feel like there's something there we're just missing with NK. She's off. Her interview's off. She's off. Whatever she has going on, I feel like somehow she has some kind of weird involvement. I don't know the level of involvement, but I feel like she has some kind of involvement in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the CBI never pressed her on.
That's
like
crazy.
there was these one text messages that she had with Charlotte. Remember, Kelly? And she was like, I just feel like I'm always going to be second, like to the kids, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's I do. I feel that way too. Like I feel like she was like that. I feel like, and you know what? That happens honestly more often than not. Like in relationships, like of people that have kids, and then you jump in a relationship, and then someone's like, I'm sorry, but my kids are going to take precedence. Like people become crazy maniacs in it.
Yeah.
People are like, why am I second fiddle to your kids? Like, why should I be any less special than your kids are and stuff like that? And obviously, a parent, you're like, well, because these kids depend on me. Like,
they're my kid.
Child. They're child. They're my child. They're my flesh and blood. Like, of course, I'm going to be like that. But like sometimes some people that don't have children don't understand that. Like, sometimes in relationships, you'll see it cause problems for people who have kids already. And then you have the jealous, like stepmom or stepdad, they'll come in and they're like, why am I not this? Why am I not your all and your everything? And you make your kids out to be like, oh God. And here I am just on the back burner.
Like Keisha, Stalk, and Gannon.
I think CBI Kobach, he could have pressed that further and been like, he kind of did, but then he just kind of like let it go. He was like, well, what does that mean? And she was like, oh, I just meant that, you know, he puts his kids first or something like that. But it was like it should have been pressed harder. Like they could have used that, like you're saying, how Tammy kind of ran the interview.
They should have had somebody completely different do the freaking interview than who they had.
Yeah, Kevin Kobach. Because in NK's first 2 interviews, she said that no one knew about Chris except for her dad. So that was a blatant lie. And then it comes out that there were texts about Chris with her and Charlotte. And then Chris brings up some girl named Brittany. So you're finding out she's lying about talking to her friends about Chris. And then you're seeing that she's talking about she's going to come second to the kids. The phone. I mean, there's just so many red flags that they ignored or they caught on too late, and it's just really, really sad. I feel
that's all stuff that they should have originally caught to begin with too. It's like, if you do an investigation and think, don't you want all parties involved? But that's why I swear that they only wanted the freaking circus out of town. That's why I always keep saying the circus out of town. So as soon as they got Chris to confess over, I did it, it was me, I did it, like. So then they're like, oh, yes, perfect. We'll take it because like now we don't have to deal with the rest of the, the craziness that goes along with this. So he's taking the blame for everything. So let's close out all the rest of the investigation and not worry about freaking this because then it's going to go into – because then you start going into different ties. Okay, so now we got NK. Okay, well, who's NK? Like who's her family? Who's her family involved with? You know what I mean? Like her dad. You hear so many different things about her father and the ties that he had and different things like that. So did that have a play? Do you think that had some kind of play into it? Do you think that her father had like some kind of, a lot of people talk about the Masons and stuff like that and different ties into it. I don't know. Those things to me are a little, I don't know.
I don't know much about the secret societies to really say
those are questionable to me because I'm like, you're gonna start getting into allegation. That's such speculation to be like, maybe they were part of the Masons and things like that. And we're like, okay, yes, perhaps, maybe. But if you look at let's just look at the facts. The facts is she's weird. They didn't interrogate her the way that they should have. She had different things that she didn't have very good answer for. She lied previously. So they should have drilled her just from that. Why were you lying about it to begin with? Oh, just because that you had an involvement with Chris Watts? Like you're going to lie about it? You think that they're not going to find out about it? My first instinct would have been if I was that person, I'd be like, look, all right, I had an affair. This is what I did. This fucking guy is crazy. This guy is batshit crazy. Like I had no idea that he was going to freaking kill his family. Like he didn't give me any indication. Like I had an affair with him because I thought he was cool and like he treated me special and stuff like that. Not trying to go about it and lie about it and be like, yeah. But even after she lied and stuff and she came in, like she made it like all nonchalant, like, hi, how are you? What is going on? And it's like. And it's like so nonchalant. It's like,
Yeah.
Okay, how are we letting her control this thing? Like, you guys already know, like, she's had a history of, like, telling you guys already lies anyway. Like, why was she had to lie? If anybody else was involved in that case, and like, wouldn't have they been drilled the same that Chris was? Like, wouldn't you have been like, what's your involvement in this? Like, look, you had an affair with him. Like, he was those the last times right before that had happened, like, he was, talking to you. You guys were texting back and forth. We have a weird ping going, that's close to the area. Like,
no alibi.
The detective, as I'd be like, I want to know who, what, when, why, where, and how. Like, what the fuck were you doing that whole time there, little Miss Giggly? Because you're over there like thinking everything's a freaking joke. So everything's a freaking joke to you. Like, you don't seem to take this very serious. Like, the whole family was murdered. And
it has a lot to do with the oil company being involved and their affair starting at the oil company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and I'm sure they wanted to make it go away as soon as possible. But that's what I was saying. The whole shit show. They want the whole shit show to go away.
Mm-hmm. Clearly.
And I really don't think that the DA and whoever thought that the public was going to read through the discovery, watch hours of interview, and dissect it like we have.
Yeah.
And it's over 2 years, and the Netflix just came out. I mean, it's only growing. I mean, people are still talking about it. There's new people all the time who join our Facebook group and comment on our videos, and they want to hear more and they want to learn more because they saw from mainstream media, Family Annihilator, this and that, and then they get into it and they're like, wait a second.
Something's not adding up.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody's like. Everybody's like, something's not adding up here.
Yeah.
We're not stupid. Like, there's thousands of people who follow this case. Mm-hmm. And we all feel the same thing, that we don't have the true answers.
Yeah. We're not all wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Why would we all be feeling like we haven't been told the truth?
And it's not one of those cases where you just look at it and you're like, well, everybody's trying to create it like it's more Chris Watts. Well, no, it's not that we're saying, Chris Watts didn't do the whole thing. But we're saying is that you take a look at all the pieces that have been laid out before you, and something's not adding up. Like, you're not telling us something. Just like there was a video that was posted not too long. I can't remember whose freaking channel it was on. It's going to drive me nuts not being able to remember. But they basically had somebody that went over to for the place where they keep all the documents for this case. They got them, and they said, there was this and that. Like, they just stopped. They just stopped the investigation. Yeah. And that to me is like mind blowing. It's like, what? Like, you guys have like unidentified fingerprints and things like that. And that doesn't raise a question mark. Okay, so guys, if I go missing, you guys know why. Like, because they're like, this guy, leave it alone. Okay, so I want you guys to start looking into NK, and then I want you to look into Anadarko, and then
keep going.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at this point, you're not the only one who's sort of made that joke. Like, are we going to get killed for looking into the things that we're looking into?
I know, especially me, because I've been talking about going to the courthouse where they keep, where they keep the public records and the documents. I've been thinking about going over there and like getting all the information, be like, start looking and sifting through this stuff and be like, okay, guys, here it is. Like, I'm going to post this. You guys help me look through this stuff. Help me look through this information. And all you guys help me piece this thing together here, because we need to try to all figure this out, since nobody else is going to do, obviously, their damn job. Sorry, but I don't feel like they did the damn job correct.
I don't either.
It's like, if nobody else is going to do it, then I guess we're going to have to try to figure it out and do it. So, like, I felt like that, but then I started thinking about that in the back of my mind. I'm like, what if I start doing that? And then I disappear.
Is it worth it?
What if I disappear too?
We'd be on your case, Mekcee.
Oh,
yeah. Amber and I, we're on it.
Oh,
but that was a true psych ward. And then Vanessa from Unmasked. I mean, they both have really looked into the case and everything. And she raised money and went to get more discovery. And they basically were like, you got to go to the DA. If you want anything more, go to the DA. Mm-hmm. The investigation, the funding stopped when Chris confessed. They didn't get any camera footage. They had that weird plaque on the wall with the family and like a spelling error. It was just really weird.
Yeah, that's
I find it hard too in this era of technology. Like, we're in a technology world.
Mm-hmm.
I find it very hard to believe that they only came up and publicly said only a few of the videos that they got, quote unquote, of them. I find it very hard to believe, and I'm very hard pressed to believe that there wasn't more videos somewhere. There's got to be some from another neighbor's house, something. Like even like the truck leaving. Okay, so like there's no other neighbors within that vicinity. Like I would have been going door to door if I was a detective and been like, hey, do you have one of those Ring doorbells, or do you have one of those Nest doors? You know, you guys have the ones that record, because then I would have started piecing them all together. Okay, let's see when he's leaving and different things.
Yeah.
And see, because you would have been able probably to see too, perhaps what he's saying, the children were still alive before they went there. You would be able to prove that or disprove that. You'd be like, look, I see you here driving the truck. However, I do not see some freaking little kids over there frantically looking and saying, what's going on with mommy over here? Why is she not moving?
Yeah.
Because I know kids, and I know that the kids are not going to freaking sit still while mommy's not moving. You're over there driving them in the truck. Like the kids are not just going to sit quietly. So I find it hard pressed to believe that.
I'm sure they have stuff, but they just won't release it.
Yeah, they have more.
Yeah, that's what's insane to me. That's what I'm saying. I find it hard pressed to believe that. So I know that they have more footage.
Yeah, but why won't if they want us to
not releasing it? Why are we not releasing it? Shut us all up then. If nobody else is involved, I'd be like, here, you little shits. You guys think that somebody else is involved?
Yes.
Here, take all the freaking video evidence. Here's this and this and this and this. You guys are all over here speculating how there was, he carried the shadow and this shadow was put in the car. Okay, well then you guys probably have some more video evidence somewhere. Prove us right. Shut us up. Give us the freaking evidence so we could be like, oh.
Yeah, you guys knew it. We were wrong.
You know what they will
do? Move on.
They'll have everybody from Colorado, not FBI, like Tammy, district attorney, the assistant district attorney, and a few other CBI agents go on cable networks and just rehash the same narrative over and over. Chris Watts did this alone, blah, 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 blah. But it's just like odd that the FBI agent coder never puts his name or face out there supporting that. It's all like Colorado based, like the DA and the agents.
You know what it reminds me a little bit about? You remember the Making a Murder series?
Yeah.
A little bit like that. Like why was there so much conspiracy behind that? And even after you find a conspiracy behind it, you still can't do shit about it. Isn't that
exactly
crazy? Isn't that crazy? Like how much national attention that Making a Murderer drew, and you found out how corrupt and crooked that place was. And you're like, why was there so many things tampered with, and why was it so crooked? And then why is it still crooked? And you guys just allow it to be still crooked?
Yeah.
That's insane.
And you, like you said, you can't do shit about it. You're just like, okay, like there's nothing we can do, even though we're the taxpayers. I mean, we live in America. We want to feel like the process we basically pay for in a way is working and here for us on our side to protect us. And it doesn't feel that way with those cases, And then Casey Anthony, I mean, got away with murder, but that's a whole nother story. I think the prosecution failed that case. And
oh my God, there's so many different ones like that are it's just like.
But then they create that Freedom of Information Act to be more transparent with the taxpayers and our the citizens of America.
You know what that is? That's to shut us the fuck up. That's to be like, okay, we're gonna make you feel.
Because Kelly and I filled it out and tried to request whatever we could on this case. Yeah. And both of us got denied and told that.
Yeah, exactly.
What did they say, Kelly? They were like protecting the individuals involved.
Or I think it was not in the best interest of the public or something like that. Yeah. And then protecting individuals involved, those two reasons. I need to find that and post it for you guys. It's somewhere on our Facebook group, I think, too, but it's just sad. Denied. Done.
It's crazy how much comfort we find in different things, isn't it? Like, for instance, we find so much comfort in the freedoms, but however, like you start looking at COVID and what happened, and it's like, Now it's like all these freedoms are being taken away. Like, okay, you got to go wear a mask everywhere you go. And I know obviously it's for public safety and health and blah, blah, blah. But then you start taking away, okay, now we're closing the restaurants down. Okay, now we're creating a mandate where you can't go out past 8 p.m. Okay, now we're creating a mandate that once you're exposed to somebody who might have potentially been, now you're 14-day quarantine. And okay, now it's like, oh, hold on. Whoa, wait a minute. Like,
Yeah,
what happened? What happened to all of our freedoms here? Like all of a sudden we went from freedoms, so we feel so secure until that stuff starts happening. Same with you guys trying to go over there and be like, you know what? They created this. Let's go to this avenue and let's say, okay, well, give us the information so we can take a look at it. And they're all,
sorry.
That Jurassic Park thing. Do you guys remember that Jurassic Park when he's on the computer and it's all, you didn't say the magic words.
What are the words? How do we get it?
They did say in that form from FBI that we could appeal it, but I think Kelly and I were just like, what the heck?
For what? To waste your time and waste. That's all you would be doing is wasting your time and your breath.
Exactly.
And that's what I feel like we get a lot of times in these cases that are supposed to be public and things. It's like, oh, we're going to give you this false security of sense of freedom. Like you can go over and you can view the same things that we do. However, not really. You're not going to be able to.
Not in this case.
Because we're protecting you guys and we're protecting like the whoever's involved. We're protecting. Oh, okay.
The oil company, I'm telling you.
Yeah. And that's like with the discovery. They're like, we gave you 2,000 pages. Okay, well, then they redacted some. So we have 1,960 pages. So, and we have hours of interview and footage. They're like, we gave you all this. But when you really dig into it, it doesn't answer a whole lot of the questions.
Yeah,
we're missing
the good question stuff is missing.
That we want.
The good stuff is missing. They're like, we'll give you all the crap ass things.
Yeah.
That make no difference to anything. They're like, here, we're gonna give you 400 pages of documents of us talking about cheeseburgers.
Right.
Yeah. Cheeseburgers and fries.
District attorney and his team is the ones that put everything together. So again, it goes back to just these like local Colorado, controlling the narrative.
Sketchy people.
I know have you lived there your whole life, Mekcee?
I've lived here my whole life, yes.
Wow.
It is so beautiful in everything that I see on
it is, but
showing the touristy stuff, but then I hear all these stories. I'm like, what is going on there?
It's changed. I know everybody jokes about like what the hell is in our water bottles because we have like some of the most heinous things that have happened over here, like James Holmes and shooting up the Aurora movie.
John
Benet Ramsey and Chris Squad's case, and like we could go on and on and on. Like even when Ted Bundy was here too. Do you remember when he escaped out of the courthouse twice? Not once, but twice. How do you escape?
Yeah, 2 times.
Twice. Come on.
He was a genius.
Yeah.
Psycho genius, but they nickname it Killerado.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But since you've been there your whole life, I know that Florida is sort of like people who live in Florida, they get annoyed with implants, like people who move to the state. Do you think that Colorado has a lot of people who just like move in and have changed like the way?
Yep. I could tell you 2 states that I see plates all the time. Texas and California.
Interesting.
Really?
Coming there.
I see those plates all the time. Texas and California plates all the time over here. And you know when it started? Is when we started legalizing marijuana.
I could see that.
When we started legalizing marijuana, we got it. And you know what? I hate to say this, but you know what I think that also had to do with is because think of how close that California is, and how close Texas is to the border.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, you start doing that. That's a very huge industry. You start buying marijuana legally, and then you start moving it to these different places to get across the borders. Doesn't start seeming so fishy that a lot of those plates are going here. And I know that there's people for a fact that have done that, like come here to Colorado before it started becoming legal. A lot of different places would come here to Colorado, get the weed, take it back to these other states to go sell it at a very high profit.
Yeah.
And again,
they need to legalize it everywhere.
But I know that, cannabis goes kind of hand in hand, like with other drugs, like as far as like helps you come down or this, like whenever there's a drug bust here in New York, there's always, they always throw in like an ounce of marijuana.
And a bag of marijuana was found too.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, it makes sense though that like, you know, there's always a market for it.
Oh, yeah,
and it kind of helps with other drugs, like I was saying, like if you're in between usage and this and that. So I don't know, it just takes me back to people that are surrounded in the Watts case, like Troy, the coworker. He wasn't from Colorado, like he was from Kansas. And I just hear about like people transplanting to Colorado and it raising even the crime rate there since.
Very often. Yeah, very often that happens. Like, and it's funny too, because when I was here younger, like a lot of places, even where I was living as a kid, was like a lot of farmland behind us. But now it's not like that. And it's funny because I used to live in what was called Thornton, Colorado. And now Thornton's kind of like a little ghetto. Like you have a lot of, you know, not to knock on Hispanics, but you have a lot of Hispanics. The Hispanics families have moved over there from like different places, from Mexico, from California, from different places. But the crime rate has spiked up dramatically because of the different places, you know, coming into Colorado. And now it's like, before it was like, oh, there ain't no tough gangs in Colorado and stuff like that. It's like, well, yeah, there is, because you had a lot of different people transplant in from different states that had a rougher life, and they were trying to come over here to get that new start. And you know how that goes. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
But I'd say just everybody just smoke weed and chill out, bro. You know, just
I agree.
Oh my God, just chill out.
They need to just legalize it federally.
They should just legalize it everywhere. I mean, like everywhere. I mean, it's stupid. Like, I would rather, my personal opinion is,
it would help a lot.
Somebody get high. I would rather somebody get high than drunk, because look how many deaths are associated with drunk.
Yes.
And drunk battery and killing and violence and
oh my gosh.
You don't hear a lot of stories about people like, oh my God, this dude smoked a freaking whole ounce and he freaking hauled off and killed his whole family.
Have you seen that new Twisted Tea viral video that's been going around?
What is it?
You'll have to look. I can't explain it now. But basically, this guy gets in a fight at a gas station, and it's gone viral because like the other guy like wailed him in the face with a Twisted Tea. But he was drunk, and it's like all these things always happen
when you're drunk.
You know, and there's
or you're either on drugs like cocaine or something,
yeah,
or you're drunk. One of the two is drunk, but you don't ever hear like a bunch of stories like somebody smoked like way too much weed. They're like, because you know what would happen? They would be like this. They'd be like,
yeah, exactly. And if they're talking about our economy, this and that, you know, what kind of way?
Motherfucker, but now I just want some fucking nachos.
Yeah, exactly. Nachos and Cheetos.
If they want to revive the economy, you know, federal legalizing it. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Well, I know that they're trying to legalize. They were trying to legalize mushrooms. I know that they partially legalized mushrooms over here in Colorado now too. So I don't know what extent to now mushrooms are available and legal to people, but like they partially legalized mushrooms over here now too. So I just see this as becoming a trend. Like, I'm like, okay, so now all the psychedelic stuff, they're realizing like, okay, but that you start tampering, and then like, where do you stop with that? Because I think that there probably is some crazy fools out there on mushrooms that maybe have done some pretty sketch stuff because they were completely zoinked out of their mind and they didn't know what they were doing. So when you start getting into that stuff, but you never heard somebody being so psychedelic from freaking weed that they go off and just haul off and like kill everybody because they were completely out of their mind. So
right. And the fact that they never drug tested Chris, it's like, how can we examine even his brain around this crime during that's really troubling.
Now see, like I know, like I think my ex smoked cannabis daily. Now, okay, so I saw somebody else's comment. I know that they deleted it or whatever, but they were talking about somebody was smoking cannabis every day and they beat them. Okay, yeah, but that's the norm on those that you see. That's probably because he was a violent person to begin with. He probably even before the smoking the ganja, he probably was just a violent douchebag and was one of those tough guys that felt like beating a chick was the thing to do. Like,
Yeah.
and those are the kinds of people that I freaking hate. By the way, I freaking hate freaking guys that freaking hit chicks, because it's just like, are you kidding me? Like, you hit a chick?
Yeah.
Dude, that's
There
like,
is a small percentage, I'm sure, that cannabis can kind of activate a cycle, whatever, that's already been dormant in the brain. But that's like a small percentage that cannabis can do that too.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. So your guys, let's see. Would you guys ever, if you had the opportunity, would you guys ever go into the Watts house to go?
I would.
Like, go do a paranormal investigation?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Would you, Kelly?
I'd love. Yeah,
Oh my
I'd
god.
be scared, but I would. I mean, Amber and I like want to go, and again, people probably judge me for saying this, but I would love to go to Colorado and visit. I don't know. I just am very tied to this case. I've been into it for 2 years. Amber has become one of my best friends because of this case. And I mean, we just really want answers. And I don't know if we'll ever get that. But yeah, I would absolutely love to go like see these things in person. But yeah, I would do that for sure.
See, like, I think a lot of people feel like that. Like, they say that until they like actually get in a scenario. Of
I think I would.
There.
Yeah,
I'd be crazy. I would be hard pressed. Like, I go on these ventures alone a lot, and like, I'm gonna tell you, like,
I wouldn't do it alone.
See, like, yeah, oh god. Okay, well, we'll put it that way. So you wouldn't do it alone. Like, if you had to go in that house alone, like you had the opportunity, and you had to go alone. But they were like, you can only go yourself.
Okay, if I was just going in there and like walking through it, yes. Yeah. If I was gonna try to do anything paranormal, no way would I do it alone. But if I was just walking into the front door, I would go alone.
Yeah, I feel like,
but
as far as going alone, I wouldn't do any of the spirit boxes by myself, but I would like to feel the energy without maybe even other people around me, just to see like what it, what kind of sixth sense I could, feel myself. But if we were going to do like the spirit box and stuff, I'd want others with me.
Yeah.
I wonder about the chat. What about the chat? Would you guys put a yes or no? Like, if you would go, like, if you had an opportunity, you had to go alone. You didn't have an option. You had to go alone in the nighttime. Would you go into the Watts house alone to go do a paranormal investigation if they allowed you to? Yes or no?
No. Not me.
I'm saying yes, 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 no, no. Hell no.
Hell no.
Not
I'll
alone.
Take Zach.
No, yeah. I'll take Zach.
Only with a priest.
A priest. I honestly don't think I would even feel comfortable even with the priest being there. Like, I still wouldn't feel comfortable. I would go do it alone just because I'm the person that wants answers. I'm like, I have to. Like, even if I don't want to go, there's times where I've gone where I didn't want to go to the Watts house. I'm like, damn it, I have to go alone to the Watts house.
Yeah.
Same thing with Survey 319. Like, I was like, I have to go alone because Robbie's not going with me. But
I feel like I would be more afraid of going to the movie.
Really? I think I'd be more afraid of the house.
You would be more afraid of Survey 319?
Yeah.
Really?
That's interesting.
I just feel like I don't feel like people died in the house. Like, I know that stuff was brought there and happened there, and obviously they were taken. But for me, it's like I don't believe that they actually died there, as far as like my theory and everything goes.
Yeah.
Whereas Survey, I feel like, is just like not only their resting place, but I think stuff happened there.
Yeah.
See, like, I think, like, my opinion is, like, even if it was just Shanann, I don't believe that it was just Shanann that was killed there. But even if it was just Shanann that was killed there, I feel like all of the whole drama started in the house.
The energy.
So, like, there, like, pops off. It's like Shanann's killed there. And, like, regardless if the girls were killed there or they were not killed there, it's like you already have, like, that evil, like,
right.
That, and like, now it's triggered everything. So if you're able to murder right there in the home, regardless if you went and you murdered the kids at the Survey 319 or not, like, that's neither here nor there. You already started your evilness, like, right in the house. So, like, whatever was there, if there was the evil or the demon there, like, it was there. Like, it was there.
Yeah.
You deny it. So the
Did it?
routine is like you could argue maybe they were, maybe they weren't, but you know for a fact, like you're like, I know that it all popped off here.
Drama. Yeah.
Didn't you try to contact the bank about getting in the house? I feel
Yes,
like I heard
did.
you say that.
I got past the first stage and then they blocked me.
Done.
Yeah, they were like, I was there like, okay, here's the number, here's the person you call. So then I was like, yes, I was all excited, and like I messaged nothing, didn't hear anything back. Tried to get him, nothing. And then I called the person that was supposed to be involved in it. I called him like so many times, and I was like, oh my god, I probably feel like a stalker. They're probably going to turn me in. Like, but they did. They just told me, block, you're not getting anywhere. So
yeah,
I was like, okay. I see where this is going. Obviously, I'm not getting anywhere, but damn, I would love to get into that house to do an investigation. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That would be like probably the all-time greatest investigation. I would even be willing to spend, thousands of freaking dollars to go investigate, like have cameras in every freaking room and night vision and freaking weird off the wall things, being like taking all kinds of different recordings and readings and things. Yeah. This is going to be like the investigation of all investigations. Like everybody's going to watch this.
Somebody said in their Facebook group, I'm going to buy the house and rent it out as an Airbnb or something like that. And I was just like, people were like, that's crazy or that's insensitive, all this stuff. And halfway I was thinking,
you're like, I would go.
I'd go. Yeah.
And there's actually people that do that. There's a lot of people that have done that, bought a haunted house and they've turned it around and been like turned it into Airbnbs, and like they're like, you could come rent this haunted place. Same thing with the Stanley Hotel. That would be like saying the same thing with like any of these places that are haunted. Stanley Hotel does the same thing. They charge a ridiculous, I think it's like $425, which I'm going to go do the Stanley Hotel one too. It's like it's like $425 a night to go stay in these haunted places. But there's this little group of people that like to do that. They like to go out to these places and they're like, I want to go for the haunted experience. I want to see, something paranormal happen. And they know that they could charge us prices, so they cash in on it. They're like, ting. Same thing with
honestly, without them giving the public more answers, what do they expect in a way? Like we're gonna want
to be like, okay.
Yeah, and that's where all the speculation comes into play too. It's like, so that's what's so crazy. It's like, why not just release whatever you have? I mean, we're like a little people with our pitchforks over here, like, give us answers. We're like the angry mob. We're the angry mob of people with the pitchforks that we're like, give us the answers. We know you guys are freaking lying. Give us the answers. Give us whatever you guys have so we can see and figure this crap out. If you guys won't tell us, we'll figure it out ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the shadows kind of came into play. That was, social media basically found that. And some people still don't believe it, but Rourke did say, I see shadows now. It's like, what?
Yeah. Actually, I did capture a shadow too. Did you guys know I captured a shadow in that same stairs? I actually went up to the window and I captured a video, and as I was going through to show people the house, like you see the same type of shadow go down the stairs, and I did it frame by frame to slow it down, and you could see it. You could see a shadow, and it's not a trickery, because a lot of people are like, well, it might be trickery from the banister and things like that. Okay, yeah, but I've seen trickery from that too, and like this looked like a moving mass, and we did see a moving mass several times. And I don't know if you guys saw the shadow figure that I captured behind the house at the other houses too. I call it the Slender Man. It's the Slender Man shadow figure, because at one point it's like this little toothpick, weird, odd looking thing, and then it balloons out, and then it goes back and it just disappears. And it was right behind the Watts house. And and at the same time that had happened, I was freaking out. See, I didn't see that until I went over my footage. But then I was sitting there freaking out about the light across the street that was flickering on and off. And I was like, look, guys, the light's flickering on and off. So it all happened simultaneously. There was that weird shadow figure, and then the light was flickering on and off. And there were people who were like, there's some people that were like, well, it was probably like a sensor, somebody like maybe a mouse or a cat or something was running by. And I was like, if it was a floodlight, like what you guys are saying, it would stay on. It doesn't just go on and off and on and off and on and off. It doesn't just flicker on and off and on and off.
It doesn't flicker.
Have you ever tried to just take your phone and take pictures like at the places you go to,
Yeah.
and then go back and look for orbs?
Yeah, I have actually. I've done that several times. And I've captured some things, but like I'm very like hard pressed to like sometimes put things up because I'm like, somebody can argue that, and I myself can maybe argue that potentially too. So like I try to steer clear of any things that might be questionable, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if I think they might potentially be questionable, I might even leave it up to to everybody. I might say, hey, I'm going to leave this up to you. What is your opinion? Here's what I captured. Here's what I think it might potentially be.
Yeah. Speaking
Go
of
at your own judgment.
You should see. I think my fiance said that the email sent to you.
Okay, let me check it out. Let's see if I can.
Because I really want you to listen to it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I can't wait to listen to it.
But like you're saying, that kind of goes with how Amber and I go through information, the discovery, and the interviews. I mean, we try to give the facts and then leave it up to them. Like, same with the paranormal. You show them what you're seeing and what you found, and you're going to have those people who are like, that could be explained away. And same with our stuff. We try to present it and like let us know what you think of it. You might take it whatever way, but there's just a lot of it that can't be.
And that's what I want to. Like, I want people to disprove it. Like I myself, I want to disprove these things too. Like I want to too. Like just as badly as somebody else is trying to disprove it, I'm over there trying to do the same thing. Like so, like if someone can come in and be like, "Hey, sorry, I don't know if I doubt you guys can see me. I'm over here trying to. I don't know if you can or can't, but I just got your email, so I'm downloading them right now, and I'm actually going to amplify the sound too." So I can get that. So you guys
both the EVPs, alleged EVPs, are right in the beginning. So one of them is just static. You'll hear, and then you hear something whisper, which I can't make out, and then NK starts to talk, and you don't even have to play the rest. And then the other one is you'll hear NK speaking, and then as soon as Agent Kobach says okay, there's like a silence, and then we hear the EVP. And then you don't have to play the rest of it. But like, so they're both pretty much within the first few seconds of the audios.
Oh, nice. That'll be good. I'm trying to pull up my program over here so we can do it.
But as far as like Kelly was saying, we'll put out our what we find, and then we love when people kind of question what we find. But then when we like do our rebuttals, sometimes it's funny how like they don't know what to say, like because it's like you have to make them think like outside the box or what they've been told like through mainstream.
Well, and sometimes you have to think outside the box. Like some people will be like, "Oh, well, I can see things." Well, that's because you're not actually trying to see things, and don't try to force yourself to see things by obviously any means. But however, you have to at least be open-minded to certain things, like to hear, like you could hear maybe the best EVP and some people are just going to blow it off like, oh, well, maybe that was this or maybe that was that. And it's like, well, yeah, you could say that, but like it doesn't even sound like you're actually trying to listen to it to see if there really is something there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I showed these EVPs to like two people who were skeptical of the paranormal. And both of them were like, oh, yeah, I hear it.
And that's what's awesome, too, about EVPs is because sometimes you hear it and it's like, holy crap. Like, like you can't argue. It's like, what the heck really was that?
And I think I should explain that these are the EVPs that we're hearing are from NK's interview, but it's a phone interview. So I'm assuming it was her at her apartment, which you'll be investigating soon, you said.
Yep.
So this could play into the theory that dark things happen there if there's like demons around her, like while she's on the phone. And I didn't hear these. And when I did my videos, I recorded audio clips of her to play in the video. And then as I was playing it back is when I heard it. So I didn't initially hear it like on the regular interview because like when you record it closer to like my recording device, it like amplified it.
Wow.
I can't wait to hear this. This is cool. I love this kind of stuff. This stuff, I'm like, yes, this is awesome.
I had forgotten I sent them to Kelly like almost a year ago. And I was like, I think like we had like a paranormal talk, and Kelly's like, I've never experienced it before. And then I just kind of like forgot about the files. And then I seen like we were going to go to her apartment, and I was like, oh my God, I wonder if I could find those audios.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you found them. All right. So can you guys see? You probably just need to hear it, but can you see it too?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So we're going to play it right now.
But I don't think he took them. I think she did. Okay.
Oh, I heard it.
So
That was it.
Yeah,
That was it.
that's
like
that's
Sinner.
the one that we hear, Sinner.
It sounds like stay there, or stay here.
Okay, stay there.
Is that what it's saying?
I thought it said Sinner.
So
Wow.
little kids, you know.
Quit creeping me out.
And like, and the topic that they were talking about is NK's trying to say that that Chris was saying that the sheets smelled, the kids' sheets smelled. So that was like the topic that they were kind of talking about. And then she says, he just says, okay. And then there's like a small silence. And then you just hear that like whisper. And I remember like hearing it the first time. I was like, what?
I'm going to play it a few more times again since I always really want to try to hear it. Like,
yeah,
a few other people are saying sinner, but I hear stay there. Let's hear it a few more times. You know what? Yeah, I do hear sinner too.
It's like whoever, it's a spirit, demon, whatever, is calling NK like sinner. Like,
sinner.
You're a liar. We know everything you're saying is a lie. You're a sinner.
Yeah, sinner. It does sound like sinner. I started to get closer to the mic, the speaker. So I'll play it a few more times for you guys. Here it goes.
It's just crazy. I mean, it's just in the middle of their phone interview, not at the station. I'm assuming she's in her apartment where dark things, quote unquote, happened. If that's true, I mean, this kind of is like what was really happening there.
I can't wait to go there now. Then, if this was you said this is at her place.
We're assuming.
I assume because of the phone. Yeah,
that's crazy.
She had interviews in the police station, and then the rest were at on the phone.
All right, so
then talking about the word sin, like in Chris's letters, and I have Sherilyn's book, and I'm mainly just interested in his own writing. But I mean, he talks about if we run after sin, we won't hear our shepherd calling us. And that he said he wishes he had heard the Lord calling me in June, July, and August. And just talks about darkness and stuff. So it's just weird that we hear, I mean, either way, it's just like there's something.
I'm all for people's salvation, but I don't buy what Chris Watts is selling.
No, he would tell the truth.
Yeah, if that's what I always say.
Yeah.
If Chris Watts was actually like concerned about his, or convicted about what he has done and wanted to get right with the Lord, why wouldn't he 100% tell the truth and be like, okay, look, this is exactly what happened. I know he's lied a million times already, but like if you were actually that, you would like write down specific details. This is exactly what happened. This is the time frame that I remembered it. This is this is who was involved. This is it. So if we're talking about him, trying to come into Christ and be forgiven and those different things, I just don't buy it. I don't buy it because I don't feel like he's taking. Like he's not for what he's done. Like I feel like he's still trying to get out more leniently, well, I only killed Shanann. Well, I only killed Shanann and one of the girls. I didn't kill, everybody. Regardless of what you did, you killed somebody, man. Like, you killed somebody. Regardless of whatever you're saying, you're full of crap and you're full of shit. But like, if that was the case, man, it wouldn't be like what he's saying. So
Right.
I just don't buy it. It's like you're feeding me a bullshit sandwich.
Yeah. Sandwich of bullshit.
Christian.
All right, so let's listen to the second one. You said this one is at the beginning too?
Yeah, this one I cannot make out, but you'll hear a little bit of static in the beginning. Sorry about that. And then we hear the whisper, and then NK starts to talk.
Okay, that'll be interesting. Hopefully we can hear it.
And I was like,
okay, I gotta.
That one's hard, but like you hear the static, and then you hear like it almost sounds like listen or something. I don't know. That one's hard.
Yeah, that is hard. I'm trying to see clip. I'm trying to trim it.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of NK's loud mouth.
Yeah, gosh.
Everyone's saying it sounds like the same voice as the other one.
Yeah, it's like right after that static.
Okay, let's see if we can hear it now. I may have cut it down too much. Dang it. Why is this being evil?
Yeah, it doesn't want us to hear it. Oh my goodness.
Do you guys see that? It won't let me clip it to that part. Why is it being evil?
Weird.
It's so weird.
Okay. Do you ever, experience things in your personal life, Mekcee, from you have kind of inserted yourself into this world, and or does it pretty much, like I've heard you say, you pray or whatever, it stays away from you?
Yeah, I've been fortunate to have it stay away from me.
Good.
So far. I think if it got to the point where I started having weird things happen, I'd probably have to take a step back.
Yeah.
Look, I have my family here. I gotta stop.
Yeah.
And I did feel like that a little bit, like when I started doing the end of the Watts, like once I was going there. Look at that. It jumps like from that.
I saw that.
It's driving me nuts. Maybe I'll just fade it out. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's see if we can try to hear this one more time. One more time. That was where her voice started, wasn't it? Right there? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't there. Maybe that's why. Maybe I'm way off. Maybe I clipped it too much.
No, it's right after the static. Oh,
that might have been it.
It's right after the static, huh? That's why.
Yeah.
That's where I gotta find it. We're gonna find it. I'm gonna find you. Sorry, guys. Be patient. I'm trying to do this on the fly. There it was.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, it almost does sound like a hiss.
I don't know what it's saying.
I know that one.
That's weird.
Listen.
Yeah.
It does sound a little bit like listen.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Oh, Larry says this is it.
Yeah, a couple of people.
Oh, I do kind of hear this.
God, it sounds more like to me to like listen.
Yeah, listen.
Listen.
Yeah.
This is it. That center one for sure is like
Yeah, that's creepy.
very weird.
Yeah.
Creepy.
And that clip, Mekcee, the rest of it, I didn't bother listening, but I think that there are other whispers in it. You can do what you will with the rest of that if you find something cool.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at it. I'm always
it's not long. I mean,
thanks for sharing. Yeah, I appreciate it.
yeah, no problem. I figured if you're going to the apartment and this, could have been recorded in her apartment.
You know what?
Even if it was in her car or even
You know
just
what I'll try
her
to do to aggravate it? Like, I'll take this clip of this, just this little clip, and then I'm gonna play it, and then it'll be like, "Was that you talking?" That's what I'm gonna try.
Ooh.
Call it out.
Yep. I'm gonna call it out and see if we could get the same voice that we got just right there. See if it was.
When are you going to her apartment? Have you made a date?
I'm gonna do it this next Wednesday, which would be, let's see,
A week from tomorrow. I don't know.
this will be January 6th.
Okay.
So that'll be when I'm going, January 6th.
Yeah.
So,
How far is the Watts home from you? I know you said Serby's about an hour.
it's about close to 50 minutes. It's like about 40, I think it's like 47 or 48 minutes away from me.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's not.
When did you get
too
into
bad.
the case? Like when did you first discover the case
God,
and get hooked on it?
Six. So I just recently heard about it.
Okay.
And the first time that I'd heard about it was Save Robbie had introduced me to. He's like, he just did it on a whim. He's like, what? Like I freeze. Uh-oh, I think I'm frozen.
I see you, but it's like very slow. Oh no, are we frozen? Yeah, lagging.
Yeah, I think I froze. I think I still have that program up. That might why. Probably
Okay. I can hear you though.
Very
And
laggy.
see you. Did you know Robbie before the Watts case? She might went out. She went out.
Am I frozen?
Yeah, I think I froze.
I
I'm gonna try to see if I can get it back, but I might have to.
Okay.
Well,
I think you guys might be okay. It might just be my side of things. They probably can still see you guys, so I'm gonna probably jump out. So you guys go ahead and talk for a minute amongst yourselves, and then I'll be
no
back.
problem.
We can do that.
Hopefully you can hear me.
So everyone in the chat is just saying odd timing for the freeze to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't like us talking about it.
That's crazy.
Amber, when did you first find out? I don't know if I ever asked you, like when you very first heard about this case, and because we met on a Facebook group, but like when did you first hear about it?
2019, probably fall time.
Okay.
So I really haven't been like on this that long. Not as long as you.
Yeah. Mine was, I saw his sentencing on Facebook, and then I joined a Facebook group. And then I went and listened to the interviews once the discovery was released. Like, I think it was released on Thanksgiving Day in 2018.
Wow. So right around everything.
Yeah. And then as soon as I heard NK, I was like, wait a second, there's more here.
Yeah, I don't even know how I fell in. I think what had happened was I found videos on YouTube about the case. And then, when you go on Facebook, you'll get like recommendations for things that you've looked up on other sites.
Yeah.
I think they like recommended that big group that we met in.
Yeah.
And I think that's how like everything started basically. And I was like you, one of the first, it seemed, or small population that thought MK was guilty and would get attacked in that big group for thinking it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like we bonded over like MK basically in a weird way.
Yeah, I know. That's because you would get attacked in that group. There was a really big group, and I'm not trying to say anything about the group, but people really didn't see NK as guilty. And yeah, and I think over time that's changing.
Yeah, I agree with Debbie in chat that the case won't go away.
Right. And again, like we've talked about, the Netflix came out in September, and then you have the book came out. I just don't feel it's going anywhere.
No, it's not. And there'll be more movies made, and they're gonna sensationalize it all and make NK look innocent.
Yeah. Where is Mekcee? We lost him. Yeah, I am absolutely like I have tried to not think about the case. I've literally woken up in the morning and been like, okay, I'm just not gonna think about it, and I always go back to it. And Amber and I mean, we talk about other stuff, but we talk about the case a lot. And we always are finding like more, and I don't know.
I know there's so much even with the same information that we've had for years, we still end up finding stuff in it that just doesn't add up.
Right. I know. Yeah, my husband's very understanding about my Watts obsession. He's like, whatever.
Yeah, so is Ryan. I feel like it's to the point where they know probably like this isn't going away. So
we're not going to stop. Right. I mean, I've said this. I'm so thankful for YouTube where we can talk about it. We have freedom of speech. We've met great people who want to talk about it, and we're allowed to do so.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing is, if we feel that it was mishandled, we have every right to question how it was handled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone asked if it's the only crime we've looked into. I am into like, no, I mean, I do look into other cases. Most of them don't have as many twists and turns as the Watts case, I feel. So that's why I'm really stuck on this one.
Yeah.
A lot of cases you kind of look into and it becomes kind of a dead end. You realize who did it, why it happened, how it happened, the evidence corroborates what happened, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Even the John Bonet, even though we never got a trial, you and I feel the same person did it.
Yeah, speaking of John Bonet, I'm going to be going to that house eventually.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I'm going there soon. You see this? I want everybody to look at this. Look at this insaneness. I put on my camera.
You're red.
And it's red. This is red. That's the first time that has ever happened. Like, that's all you can see is just red. And if I stop my camera, see, look, I could turn it back on and it's just red. You can't see.
Wow.
What is going on?
Freaking evil. Evil. See, that's what happens, though. Like, sometimes when you start talking about the paranormal or you show paranormal things, like, look at that. Like, why all of a sudden, this is the first time I've ever had that happen to me.
Wow.
It's red.
After we showed you the thinner clip.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. My little son's over here knocking at my door, too. Come here, Papa.
Aw. Well, Mekcee, whenever, I mean, this is your channel, so whenever you want to end it or,
yeah,
let
absolutely.
us know.
I think we went over everything that
I
can think of. I mean, we went through a lot, and I appreciate you, C.D.T, being on, and Amber, True Seeker, I appreciate you. Good. Can you say hi? Can you say hi?
I wish we could see him.
Hi.
He's being shy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming on, and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys.
No problem.
we should collaborate again, and maybe I'll jump on your guys' channel next time, and we can do that. But I don't know. Sure. It was really awesome. It was really awesome. I think we had a good conversation, and I see MJ's Life. Thank you, MJ's Life, for posting that C.D.T channel. So please, everybody that's here, make sure to go, if you haven't already, go subscribe to C.D.T. And Amber, do you have a channel as well?
Yeah, MJ shared it as well. All my good work. Well, I mean, I've done a lot of work on Kelly's channel, so a lot of good information. We've kind of
you guys actually have really good information about, and that's Florida Bass Fishing had actually reached out to me and brought me to you guys. So thankful to him.
And I wanted to say I love the song you did. I thought that was really
Oh, thank you.
I remember when it was first going around, I was like, is it sad? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, then I can't listen. And then finally, just because of like the pregnancy hormones, I just couldn't go there. Then I finally listened and I was like, wow, this is like chills.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. And that's, in my goal for the song, and Robbie and Save Robbie had tried to make me release it several times, but I just didn't feel like I at the time had done justice to the song. So the song was actually very difficult for me to write, because I was trying to do it in a specific way that I felt like Shanann and Bella and Cece and Nico had a voice.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I wanted everybody to understand the frustration behind like Chris. Like, let's not let Chris get away with what he got away with.
Right.
Let's not forget Shanann. Let's not forget Bella. Let's not forget Cece. Let's not forget Nico. Let's not forget all of what had happened to them. And that's what I tried to go for too with the chorus. Like in the chorus, I say, we tried to fill this house with love, but little did I know that soon you'd be the one to take it all away.
Yes.
Because I felt like that. I feel like she was trying to build a house of, filled with love. And regardless of if she was dominant or not, that's neither here nor there. I feel like she was trying to build a house. They were pregnant with a little baby boy and things. And
there was so much to look forward to.
Yeah, and you start thinking about it, and like I just tried to give as much as I could a voice for her to, that was like, in my way, that was like me showing like, this is what I picture or envision Shanann saying. Like, I tried to give you a house, like you took it all away from me. Like, why would you tear our family apart like that? Because there's different forms of tearing your family apart, obviously, and like he did like the most unforgivable way of tearing your family apart. Like, if you're gonna go start another family or whatever, like, we understand people divorce people, that happens to people and stuff like that, but however, it's a complete other thing to completely murder your family, especially a woman who's pregnant, and that's just, it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, you could definitely feel the emotions with the lyrics and everything. I thought it was great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And
thank you so much, guys, for being here. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to collaborate with you guys again soon.
Yeah, and we'll be watching the MK apartment tour.
Yes.
I hope you guys do. And hopefully you guys have some time tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be
I
will be watching.
Yeah, I will be watching.
And we wish you luck.
It's going to be very interesting, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of heated emotions flying back and forth on it. Because I know a lot of people can't stand Kim and can't stand a word that comes out of her mouth for Shanann bashing and other things. So I know that there's going to be people that are frustrated about it. And I don't know. All I can say is, you guys just, regardless if you're frustrated or not, I would say listen and see how it goes.
I'm gonna listen. I'm curious.
Tuning in. Florida Bass Fishing wants to know, Mekcee, if you think that Chris was an accomplice or he actually murdered them, like physically, all of them himself.
I go back and forth on that. I feel like, if it was my opinion, God, he's such a spineless coward. I don't know. It's hard, because I go back and forth. I'm like, if he's such a spineless coward towards everything else, so it's like hard to think that he could have potentially done it.
Yeah.
So, God, that's tough. You put me on the spot there. Florida bass.
That was Florida bass fishing. He's like,
blame him.
So I've gone back and forth about that a million times in my mind. However, because of the way that he just seems now, like after I saw his face, I would say that I do feel like he at least murdered Shanann.
Okay.
I feel like he at least murdered Shanann. And because here's my opinion. If he didn't have the guts to kill his girls himself, that's where I feel he would have had help.
Right.
yeah.
Because I see him as being such a coward. I don't see that he would look how he would look them in the face and look at them and kill them because of how he is. So that's where I start to think about the conspiracy of maybe others being involved, which we could go on and on about that, but
yeah, that's basically C.D.T's whole channel.
Well, I can't be the only one on the spot. What about you guys? What about you, C.D.T? What about you, Amber?
I don't think that Chris had the balls to kill any of them. I think that he, at most, is a conspirer. So, I mean, conspiracy to commit murder is still life in prison in some states. So I'm not saying that he is in prison for the wrong reasons, but I think that there's other people who are definitely more hands-on.
Yeah. I think, that's, That's
agreed.
Oh,
Yeah.
He is weak. Somebody said he's weak. That's the thing is, like, I just feel like he would have planned it all with people who were more, criminal.
Yeah, and the reason why I think that he did Shanann is because I think in some way, shape, or form, if NK was involved, I feel like she would have been like, you kill Shanann. You do it.
Yeah.
I'll take care of the kids. You don't have to see it. You don't have to see me take care of the kids, but you take care of Shanann. Kind of like you take that bitch out,
Yeah, like she wanted him to do it and have that satisfaction.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like if you want to start something with me, like if you want to have a life with me, this is how it's going to be type thing. Like you go take out Shanann. I'll do the kids so that you don't have to witness it or don't have to take it. And like, because I just don't see him. I just can't see him with as much cowardice as just spineless. I just don't see him doing the kids.
No, I think other people did, sadly, and they're out there somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, I know. That's
and for some reason, Chris is protecting them, so he's a POS.
Indeed. And I'm still red. Look at that.
You still are red. Real quick, I just want to say Tammy Alicio said, my theory changes every day, but I'm 100% Shanann did not kill her children. And I agree. My theory changes, but no, I don't think the evidence shows Shanann did it.
Right.
Yeah. So. That's what mine is. And I don't waver back and forth on that either.
I don't either.
I do not waver back and forth that Shanann, I can't, like, I've thought about a million different ways in my mind. How could have Shanann came to that point?
Yeah.
Regardless of how, even if he cheated, even if he did that, even if he told her, she just would not have gone crazy and killed those kids. There's no way. There's no way. And especially being pregnant. Can you imagine being pregnant and hormonal and thinking about, okay, now you're taking your own children's life away, but there's one inside of your stomach too.
Yeah, it's like, why?
There's no way. There's no way. I think her mama instincts would have kicked in over the top of that, like wanting to kill your kid. Like, especially the maternal instinct. She's like pregnant and stuff. Like, God, there's just no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
No.
And like you said, you have to kind of debunk yourself in ways when you see paranormal stuff. Like you kind of have to prove to yourself what you're seeing is what you think you're seeing. We've gone down the path of could Shanann have done this? And Kelly and I both come out the same way. We're like, no, there's nothing points to that, like in our minds.
I've tried to, and I've heard different opinions. I've listened to Kim. I've heard other people, talk about it. Well, Shanann did this, and Shanann was controlling that, and Shanann this, and Shanann that. Like, regardless, whatever you say, she was freaking pregnant. She was pregnant. Yeah. She was pregnant. Just think about that for a second. I mean, like, just think she was pregnant. She was pregnant. Yeah. Can you imagine a pregnant woman taking someone who cared about her kids. Obviously, you saw it throughout.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
if it was a shitty mom, that would be something else. But she wasn't a shitty mom.
Yeah.
Like there's shitty moms out there that are like crackheads and like they don't give a shit about their kids and they just
Yeah.
have it because they can't keep their legs closed. That's one thing.
Yeah.
There's another thing when you have it because you're having a family and you
want
you know
that.
you love your family and there's just no way.
Right. Yep.
Yep. And on that note, we'll be rooting for you tomorrow.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I
Absolutely. We'll
appreciate
be there.
I appreciate it. Yeah, let's we should try to schedule something on you guys sometime soon and
Yeah.
have a good talk with you guys. I'm glad you joined us and thank you so much. And again, I'll stress and reiterate, like if you guys have not subscribed to Amber, Truth Seeker, or C.D.T, go do it. Like I've watched several of your guys' lives. You guys are very thorough in your guys' investigating and you guys go through things like and actually think things through. So that's awesome. I appreciate you guys. So.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, I hope you guys have a good night. Tell
Yeah.
your families and everybody. Hope all you guys had a good Christmas and
Yeah, everyone have a good New Year too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's coming up.
Too quick.
Yes. So fast.
All right, guys. Have a good one. It was good to have you on. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Good night.
Bye. And to the rest of you guys out there in chat, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you being on here. I hope to see you guys tomorrow for the debate with Kim and Save Robbie and Zavgirl will be there as well too. So can't wait to see you guys there. Have a good night. God bless each one of you. See you guys later.